Okay. This is either going to be very chaotic or very relatable. To be honest, probably both. Okay. Message three, exams and stuff. Hi, I'm your host Desi on Unsent Voice Memos, and this week we are diving into the normal everyone hates about high school, exams. As I'm recording this, I had just finished my exam. Well, not just, I wrapped them up like 2 weeks ago. So I was like, I just wanted to take the time to reflect on it a bit. So, yeah, let's just get straight into it. So, for me, I was kind of in exams the majority of the term. So, my actual exams kind of ran from week 6 to week 9, but then my first exam was a hand in. So, then we got that 3 weeks prior. So, I kind of started in week 3 and then finished in week 9. So, I was in exam mode for 6 weeks, which, like I said, majority of the term. And I feel like usually during the exam period, I'll just overthink things and just stress a lot, and also just sometimes give up, especially in the crunch time of the exams, like when I just have everything happening. So yeah, I remember I think I would have been studying for maths, which would have been in week 6, I want to say. And I was just like, why am I studying so much? Like, why do I even do this? Like, I kind of just want to give up, not just on maths, but on school. Like, that is not an ambition of mine personally, but it's just something I think about because I'm like, why do I do this to myself? Because I feel like I sometimes put a lot of effort in exams, for me, and I'm not getting much out of it. So I'm just like, what's the purpose of it? But I know if I want to achieve what I want, I have to go through the hardship. So yeah, I feel like though I have such a diverse range of subjects. So I was definitely anxious about all of them. I feel like one good thing about taking such a diverse range of subjects is just I can't mix up the content because I know a couple of my friends they take two subjects which are really similar to each other, so they can mess up the content a bit, but they also overlap a lot, which is pretty good. But I take quite diverse, so nothing overlaps, which is good and bad. But yeah, I feel like with that, I was definitely just most worried about my first exam because it was kind of it was a hand in, which was good for me. It was also presenting, which was pretty good for me as well. But it was just kind of it was an essay style kind of question and writing style because it was a history essay. And I love history, but essay writing is just not my strong suit at all. So I feel like part of it for me was proving to myself that I can do history really well and prove that I can actually do something well in a passion of mine. And I think another way was just proving to my parents that yes, I want to do history next year because my parents don't want me to do it just because they want me to do well, which is fair enough, but I want to prove that I can do it. And then another one I was just kind of also really anxious slash nervous for was my French exam because it was listening, and out of the four things, listening is second at the bottom. My bottom one's speaking, which is my next one. So still nervous about French. But I remember the lead up to French. From week one, it was we were doing listening practices, and I just kept getting 50%, and I'm like, I am going to fail French at this rate, which is not good because part of the reason, I do like learning French, but part of the reason I chose the subject was because I was getting 90%, last year, my average in French was around 90%. So I was like, I really, really don't like the fact that I'm doing not well when I was doing really well last year. I feel like though, just in general, I have always hated exam periods, which I feel like is not surprising. But the more I've gone through school, yes, I have gotten used to them, but I've also hated them so much more because from year 7, I was doing more hand-ins than in class. I think the only one would have been maths at the time and maybe science. But now it's more in class, and like I said, I only had one hand in this term. All my others were in class. And I know some of my friends, because they don't do history, they had zero hand-ins, and I do a lot worse in during in class exams, and some of it's silly mistakes. I think the pressure just gets to me during exams, which I feel like a lot of people can relate to with that. like just like in the exam room not knowing something, so just pressure gets to you when you do know it. And then yeah, so I remember like my math exam, like I take two maths, I will say, so this is like the one I took in week yeah, I took in week 9. I got 23 out of 29, and that was 79%. And I was kind of mad at myself, even though 79% wasn't necessarily a bad grade. One thing, it was under the average, so I wasn't happy about myself that I got under the average. But the other thing was like every single mistake I made in that test was silly mistakes. Like I knew the content. So yeah, I was kind of mad at myself for that. And then like on top of just like exams, I think I just love to make it my mission to distract myself with something else. So I usually just like question a lot of things happening in my life. Like this time round, I was questioning if I fit in with my friend group, and it wasn't like no one was being mean to me. Like my friends are really, really nice. But I don't know. I think I was just feeling out of place, and that's like I'm not blaming it on anyone. That was like my own fault because I just wouldn't voice myself at all. And yeah, like I ended up like I have ended up solving it, and I know where I belong, and I am fine with it. But like just during that exam period, worst time for it to happen. But I was just like questioning if I actually belong with my friends. Like they'll know, like I was sitting with a couple other groups as well, just like in the midst of it, just because I was like, okay, maybe I should move friend groups. But like at the end of the day, I was like, these people know me and they have known me for so long, and I feel like I can trust them. So yeah, I ended up solving it. But I feel like just having that like thought in my mind, as well as just trying to study for exams, like it definitely didn't do me a service. Like it was so weird though, because I feel like I got that on the forefront of my mind so much that I was using studying to escape from that. So up until like last week, I didn't actually solve that problem in my head because I was just like using like studying and exams to just like ignore that. So once I actually forced myself to like think about it, I was like, yeah, I was blowing it way out of proportion in my mind. Being like, I think it's just like the change for me because I have never done well with change. But I feel like just like that made me just like overthink that problem. And that was just the main thing I overthought during that time. But I definitely overthought a lot of things. Like I was overthinking my exams. Like I remember for my economics, I just did not feel prepared at all. So I was just like overthinking, like, am I gonna fail economics? What if I don't do well and all that? I didn't end up doing fine. But like that's like my point. Like I just like overthink and just stress about like the things I can't control. And if I'm stressing about something I can control, I stress so much and it becomes out of my control. And I feel like this just kind of leads me onto my next section, which is a bit of a story time from a couple years ago, which ended up in tears. But like, I do look back on this story, even though it felt like such a devastating thing in the moment. And that's because like I got two major things out of it, which I don't think if I discovered at that time, like I feel like I'd be in a lot different place than I am now if I didn't even go through it. So that's like how much it changed my life, even though it's kind of such a short moment. So this story takes place back like around the time where exams were just like becoming more of a thing. So at the time I was in a class with like only one of my friends in my friend group, and they were like really smart. They still are. And just for the sake of the story, I'm just gonna call her M. So like I was saying, she was getting really good grades, and from what I knew at the time, it's probably different now. I felt like she was barely studying and she would just do so much better than me. And then I just felt like I was putting in so much effort into my studies and then I was getting nothing out of it. And I felt like just like at that time, even though it wasn't, it just felt like the end of the world. I can remember like one time we had gotten our science grades back, and I had gotten probably around like a 75 or 80, and I was really happy with myself. But then like I asked like Em what she got, and she said she got 86 or something like along those lines, and she wasn't really happy with herself. And I just could like I couldn't get it because like she was like getting near the 90s, and for me that's like that would be like such a big thing for me if I got like near the 90s, like back at that time, because like I was getting around like the 70s and 80s. Like I was kind of like just above average, and she was like above average, but she wasn't happy with herself. So I didn't really get it. I was like really proud of her, but I think I also was slightly jealous at the time. Like now I'm not jealous of her. I am just really proud of her whenever she does well. But like back at that time, I was just like, I would say I was a bit more self-centered back then. So I just like found it really difficult to celebrate others' wins. So I remember like this one time, it would have been just when we got like our math results back. And I remember I got it, and I got like 56%, which is like my worst score today, I'm pretty sure. And then she had gotten 92. And from what I knew, like she didn't study as much as me. And I remember when I got back home, I cried a lot. Like my mum was there. It was bad. And the thing is, it was not just like, it was part of me being like just mad at myself, because I was like, I know I can do so much better than that. But the other part was just like, I was taking out a bit of my anger on just like because that was the easiest thing for me to do at the time, because like I just couldn't understand how she was doing so well. Like I was jealous of her and her grades. Like it was like a stupid thing, like now looking back on it, but for me it just felt like very real and just like one of my biggest problems. I remember, like I can't exactly remember what my mom said. I do remember her telling me to stop crying because I was blowing it out of proportion, which I definitely was. But like I feel like now looking back on it, like 2 years wiser, which usually isn't much, but I felt like in especially in these 2 years I have gone through like a definite like mental change. So now I look back on a lot of things from my like a couple years ago, and just like I'm like, what are the lessons I can get from it? One thing I got was just like something I have actually been told for years by my dad, but I never really got it, and I just never really understood it until like this moment, which was comparison. Like it's as simple as it sounds, not comparing yourself to others, because like especially for me, I was like starting to doubt my abilities on how I would do, because I was like, I'm not as good because there's someone doing better than me. And it sounds so weird, and it sounds like counterintuitive, because it feels like you're being selfish. But I feel like by focusing on yourself, it's just like so much better. Like, because the thing is, like, you have an outcome, and like you want to focus on your outcomes and your goals. You don't want to focus on someone else's outcomes and goals, because we're all running our own race. Like, I'm just going to take an example of like a train and a ferry, which is like a boat, like public transport kind of thing. So let's just say I wanted to take the train to stop A, but then I decide, oh, I'm gonna take the ferry. But the ferry won't take me to stop A, it will take me to stop B, which is just completely different from my path. So like if that was a bit confusing, basically by focusing on your outcome and your goals, that's how you're going to achieve it, not by focusing on someone else's outcomes and goals, because it's not going to lead you on the path you want to go on. And then I feel like the second thing for me was just like expectations. Like everyone has a different expectation. Like your best might not be someone else's best. Like I'm going to take a different example, and this is just a story I was told. So I'm just going to say person A and person B for this. So I think this is like an English exam, and I wasn't there that day when they were getting it back. But basically, like I wasn't there in class. I was there at school. I will just clarify that. So I got told this as soon as like they got the results. So essentially, person A told me that they got like, I think it was like 20 out of 30 in an exam, and they were like really happy with themselves. But then they like asked person B what they got, and person B like wasn't happy with their result, but they'd gotten higher. So then person A started just feeling bad about themselves, which like it makes sense, because if you hear someone say they did bad but they did better than you in terms of numbers, you're like, oh, maybe I didn't actually do that well and I was just wrong. But I feel like that's where that kind of thinking is really bad for you, because the thing is like we just like all have our different expectations. Like for me personally, my expectations with most subjects is to get like an 80%. Like there are a couple of the subjects where I wouldn't mind getting lower and I'd still be happy. But like I know for some other people, just passing a subject is like their expectation. If they pass, they're really happy. But I feel like that shouldn't like define you if your expectation is lower than someone else's. Like, I've tried to start, like, lately not asking people, like, how they went, like, what's your number kind of thing, or like, what's your percentage. I have tried to start asking, like, oh, are you happy with how you did? And like that stuff, because like I feel like your emotion for your grade is based on your expectation. So the fact that we all have different expectations, yeah, I feel like just asking how someone felt feels how they did instead of asking what they got is just, I personally feel like it's better, but like I know we can be pretty competitive. Like I am pretty competitive myself. And like expectations is like, it's such an important thing to realize when it comes to like high school exams. Cause like the thing is like we all want different career paths and we aim for different things to get on the path we want to and to get like our goal. But we also have like different strengths. So like one of my strengths for me is maths, but I know some other people, their strengths are English. So obviously we're going to have like that kind of like different path and like have different expectations based off those subjects. And I feel like just like a bonus one I am going to add is just like not stressing yourself out over like your results or like the actual exam. Like stressing like about preparation, while it's like not ideal, I feel like it's fine because it like means you care and like you want to do well. Like you should never overstress, because then when you overstress, I feel like for me, when I start overstressing, like I just procrastinate and I'm like, I don't want to do it, or I just get so in my head that I can't do it. But yeah, I feel like just like stressing during the exam, like it just actually makes you nervous while sitting, because like you're writing and then you just suddenly stop because like your hand starts shaking or like your foot starts moving or suddenly the clock's ticking too loud. Like, I don't know. But like, I just feel like stressing during the exam, it doesn't really show you, like, it doesn't show them like how well you can do. So like as a performer, I kind of like to use a metaphor, like being on stage. Like I like kind of think of like my exams as the stage. So I'm like, when I'm taking it, I have to leave it all on the floor. I have to leave all my energy and show what I've got and like impress the marker, or like in a performing aspect to the audience. And then like once I leave, I have to know I've done the best I can. And if I haven't, I can't change what I put out there. I just have to leave it to fate. So I feel like just like for me, looking at it through that aspect has helped me a bit. The thing is, like, after exams, like just that period, it is always just like such an odd thing for me, because like I question what I could have done better. And like I just question like if I actually like put my all in it. Like, especially, like, I just question if I procrastinated, which I usually do. I procrastinate, but like, I just like question how much I procrastinate and if it was actually worth procrastinating when I could have been using that time to study, and then maybe I could have gotten like an extra mark or two. Or like, especially this time around, I was like, did I actually make time for things that, like, the things I love? Like, I like just one example that I can think of is just like my parents, like they were like going out for dinner quite a bit. Like they'd go like midweek, so not a lot, but like once a week they'd go out, and it was usually on a Tuesday. And a lot of the time I said, no, can you just pick me like something up for me? Which I am grateful that they actually picked something up for me, because like I think part of it was they acknowledged how much effort I was putting in, so they would like give me some food, like buy some food for me, which was really nice. But like I felt like if I had gone out, because I did go out like once or twice, the thing was it was like such a nice break from studying, and it probably helped me over stressing. So I feel like I'm kind of sad I didn't do that more often. And I think like I do have quite a bit of balance in my life, I like to say. Like, this is now me going on a side note. I just feel like balance in life, it's kind of one of the things I live by. Like, it's so important to me. Like my main extracurricular, as I have mentioned probably so many times already, is dance. So I go to my studio 2 times a week, and then during the summer terms I also do water polo with my school. So I feel like just that gives me like a break from life, and like that just like helps my mind reset. Like, I know a couple people have like asked me like, oh, how do you actually like keep up with your studies and all that and still do like well? And I'm like, oddly enough, though it sounds like counterintuitive, I like to keep myself busy, because then studying just feels like something that's like keeping me busy, and it's just like it makes it like feel like it's worth it when I actually put in the effort, because part of it's like I need to make worth of the time I have to study, because I know I don't have as much as some people. So I feel like for me, having that balance has helped me study a lot, and has also like stepped me from over. But yeah, I do kind of wish, like, even though I was still having quite a good balance, I felt like if I had just gone out with my parents out for dinner one or two more times, I just like, I feel like that would have helped me a lot. Just like some of the conversations we have, like, I just love having those conversations. And I feel like if I had taken like the time to go out for dinner, that would have been really nice. I feel like another thing I kind of learned from this period is just like doing housekeeping stuff is like still like really beneficial. Like, I'm just like, when I say housekeeping stuff, I just mean like doing like small simple tasks that take like absolutely no effort. Like, I do remember there was this one weekend and I just did not feel like studying. And I didn't mind that I didn't want to study as well, because like I only had one exam that week. So I didn't want to force myself to study because I felt like that was just not going to help me. So I was like, okay, what are like the small things I can do that are still like useful for me, but like won't take up so much energy and just like mental effort? So like one of the things I did, I was like labeling my dictionary for French, which took me an hour. But like that I'd done it, I just felt happy. And then when it got to the next week, when I had so much to do, I was like, okay, I don't have to do this small task now because I did it. So like I feel like just the main thing is like doing like the small and simple tasks, like even like during the times I don't want to study, it just helped me like so much. And like I was still like relaxing and I didn't have to work hard. Like that weekend was a pretty chill one for me. Like I did like small things that helped me like the week after when I had so much. But like I just felt pretty chill that weekend, and I did stuff that weekend that helped me the next one. Sometimes, yeah, you do have to like force yourself to study, like when you don't feel motivated. But I feel like sometimes, like when it's reasonable, you have to give yourself grace. And this is like a small shout out with like not sponsored, but like Quizlet. I love Quizlet for like making flashcards, because like I will say most of my notes are handwritten and that's just my preferred method. But like for economics, I type my notes. So like Quizlet has this feature where you can like paste your notes or like upload a file of your notes and it will generate them into flashcards. So I used that for my economics and it was so good, because suddenly a 30-minute task like turned into like a minute, and that was just like due to it like uploading the cards and just me having to double check them that they're things I want. Like sometimes it may not be as precise or accurate, but I found them like pretty accurate and it helped me a lot. So yeah, shout out Quizlet. Love using their flashcards. I would definitely recommend that. And I feel like another thing I am actually going to add is studying with friends, because I have been told that as a method multiple times and it can be quite useful. And I will say it sometimes is, but for me, it's not my preferred method. And that's like just because like I do love my friends. Like when I'm around them, like while studying, I do tend to chat to them, and I don't think that's actually beneficial for me, just because I don't actually get as much work done. Like it I have to put my headphones in to actually like focus and study. And sometimes like sure, I love putting my headphones in, but I don't always like to put my headphones in, and I felt like being around my friends, I had to put them in just so I could study. So I felt like I was not only distracting myself, but others. And another thing with me being around my friends, sometimes it was just like I really wanted to study just because like I had a math test, like this is the one in week 7, and I came into school early that morning to do a bit of last minute studying. So I was doing that, and then like slowly my friends started coming in and they just started chatting around me, and I just found it really hard to focus. And like I could have told them to be quiet. Like it's not completely on them for talking, because I could have told them that, sorry guys, I'm trying to study. But like I feel like just for me, it is not always the best thing for me to study with my friends. Like I do love collaborative effort though. Like I love like talking to my friends. So like if we're doing the same subject and studying for the same thing, I really don't mind helping out or them helping me out. But like I feel like just studying with friends is not the best method for me. I feel like another one which has never really worked for me, but I have been told is a really successful method by a lot of my teachers, is the Pomodoro technique, where you do like 20 minutes studying, 5-minute break, 20 minutes studying, 10-minute breaks, something like that. And I know that can be successful, but I just don't find it successful for me, because I just feel like I need to focus on a task for a long time, because otherwise I just feel like I don't get any work done. But yeah, essentially my point is there are things that people tell you work and they just don't work for you, or things that people say don't work and then they work for you. Like, this is such a random one for me. I have recently just gotten into candles, and what I love to do sometimes while I'm studying is I'll just light a candle. And I feel like for some reason, just lighting a candle and having it lit gets me in a headspace to study. But that's not like a common technique, like for studying, but it works for me because I just feel like I'm in a relaxed mood and just like can be motivated to do some studying, especially when it comes to like a creative task, or just like when in general, just when I want to lock in. Lighting a candle has been really beneficial for me. But that's like an unconventional study technique. Or like chewing gum as well. Usually you're told not to chew gum in class, but I have heard like chewing gum is really, really good. So yeah, like some things will work for you and some things won't. Like, I can't give like set advice on the right way or wrong way to study for an exam, but like those are just techniques I've heard, and some have worked and some haven't. So that's the end of this podcast episode. It was a bit of a long one, I will say, but like I feel like it is like for me, it was probably a good thing to actually reflect on it, because now I know what I need to do for next exam period and what I should focus on slash work on. And I feel like it's also just like good for you guys, as it just gives you like the feeling of like, okay, someone actually goes through this. But I feel like it's also just, I don't know, like I can't say what you guys would think, but I just feel like it's just like a very nice episode to start off with for a life episode. So next week's episode, just to give you a little hint, is going to be another life episode, and I'm just going to dive into just like being on school holidays and just like being on a break and just being away from school, and like the pros and cons of being on holidays. So that's the end of this episode. Thank you guys for just like tuning in and listening to a bit about my life and just like exams, because I know that's like not really anyone's favorite time of year. So just remember to follow me on Instagram at Unsend Voice Memos Podcast, and I will be here next week at Wednesday, 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 9 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. See you guys next week. Okay, finally finished with exams. I can finally stop talking about it. Message 3 concluded.